It's time for class.
Class is in session!
Roll call! Bueller?
I'm gonna be late for class.
Bueller?
Am I hallucinating here? Just what in the hell do you think you're doing?
I'm late for class.
You are mine now. You belong to me.
Did you study for the test?
No more complaining. No more Mr. Kimble to go to the bathroom. Nothing. There is no bathroom.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Middle Class Film Class Movie Review Edition. I'm your host for today, Joseph.
I'm Peter.
And that's Jonathan Tyler Thomas over there if you're watching the stream. Tyler's not here today. He is...
He has better things to do is what he said.
yeah, according to him, he's got better things to do, and that does not include movies.
He gave us the hi-hat.
Yes, he did, as he likes to say.
Son of a bitch.
So, just me and Pete today, and this week, the Wheel of Destiny landed on a Patreon fan pick, right? Mm-hmm. Deep Cover.
Yeah, that felt kind of nice.
Acclaimed for his role in Boys in the Hood, Larry Fishburne is Officer Russell Stevens.
I knew you'd come.
There's a thin line between catching a criminal and becoming one. Deep Cover. Directed by Bill Duke.
Interesting. Oh, that was a short trailer.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's all we really need to know about it.
Yeah.
Larry Fishburne, when he was going by Larry Fishburne, as he's credited in this movie's credits.
That brought me great joy.
Yeah. I don't know at what point he dropped Larry and went to Lawrence. I don't know if it was The Matrix.
I'm Lawrence now. I'm a serious actor.
Yeah. It's like when I stopped being Joey when I graduated high school and I became Joseph.
Yeah.
Only my mom I'll tolerate her calling me
Joey
by that. So I imagine maybe it's the same thing for old Lawrence.
What if I called you Joey? Would you be happy?
Yeah, that would be the equivalent of dead naming.
He'd be dead. Okay, I shan't do that. You can call me Petey if you want. I think it would be weird coming from your mouth, though.
Petey?
Yeah.
Who calls you Petey? Anybody?
Some of my family, some of my coworkers. Yeah.
Okay.
People who knew me when I was younger, and I looked like a child.
I don't know. I don't know if I would call anybody, like if I knew anybody else named Petey. It feels demeaning.
Justice calls me Yugi Boy. Yugi Boy. I'm like, well, I'm not.
Is that related to Pete at all?
No, it's not.
It's just Yu-Gi-Oh.
It's Yu-Gi-Oh based, yeah.
Yeah, the heart of the cards.
Yeah, not a fan.
But yeah. So we're covering Deep Cover today. We're covering Deep Cover today.
Yeah.
Directed by Bill Duke, who is also an actor who appeared in movies such as Predator, and Commando, two Arnold Schwarzenegger-based movies. Exit Wounds, X-Men: The Last Stand.
Who do you play in that? Trask?
Someone named Trask.
I don't know that.
I couldn't tell you.
Probably some government agent or something like that. I like Bill Duke. He's got a really cool look to him.
Yes, he does. And he has 63 directing credits.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he's got 63 directing credits.
Wow.
Yeah, and Deep Cover being one of them. Go down the list here. He's got a lot of short. His work spans starting in 1979.
A lot of TV stuff. That's an easy way. I was thinking about this the other day. I can't remember who it was I was looking at, but they had one episode directed of like 55, 60 shows.
Yeah.
It's a really good way to pad your IMDb.
Yeah, so he's got
filmography.
Miami Vice. He's got the TV series of The Outsiders. Then he went to do Deep Cover, which seems like it might have been his first feature debut. He's got TV movies.
Feels like there's one right before that, right before Deep Cover. What was that?
A Rage in Harlem. So a year before Deep Cover was A Rage in Harlem. He was the director. And then he went on to do Cemetery Club, Sister Act 2.
No shit.
Back in the Habit.
I love that movie.
America's Dream, Hoodlum, Strong Medicine, Fast Lane.
I never heard any of these.
Yeah, I know.
He peaked at Sister Act 2.
I guess so. The Blexicans.
We can say that definitively, I think.
Deep Cover and Sister Act 2 are probably the highlights.
Is
here.
Bill Duke still with us?
Let's look.
No expiration date.
It says
That's awesome.
Born in 1943, so he is in his 80s.
He is 80 years old now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which looking at him it's like looking at like Steve Martin, like he's always been old.
It's always been old Bill Duke. Yeah.
or like watching Michael Caine. It's just always been that age.
Sure.
But
the guy that played Blue in Old School.
Yeah. But he was in. I most know him from Predator and
Yeah, me too.
Commando.
Just dry shaving with his sweat the whole movie.
Yeah, as Mac.
Yeah.
So we're covering Deep Cover, where Laurence Fishburne plays. Larry Fishburne plays Russell Stevens Jr.
Yeah.
A cop, a uniformed police officer who gets recruited by the DEA to infiltrate a drug smuggling ring looking to expand its operation.
He goes under deep cover.
Yeah, and this is written by Michael Tolkien, not to be confused with not a part of the Tolkien family, and Henry Bean, starring Larry Fishburne, Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, having the rare character with two first names not addressed, David Jason.
I know, David Jason, that was so
David.
funny. So funny. And they say they just refer to him as Jason sometimes. I'm like, who the hell is Jason?
Yeah, that caught me off guard.
Those are the two main players, Laurence Fishburne and Jeff Goldblum. You have Lyra Angel as Bijou, I think, and Renee Asa as Guzman. There's really not any other notable actors in this movie that I feel like you would recognize.
There were two people that I recognized. One of them played, what was his name, Gopher or Weasel? Was it
A Gopher.
Gopher?
Yeah.
He was one of the patients in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Mm-hmm.
One of the more sympathetic ones, who's very much having a conniption fit all the time in Cuckoo's Nest. And then also the actor who played Samson in Half Baked. Like the rival drug lord Samson.
Oh, okay.
I was like, man, that guy looks a little like Samson. And then he showed him again. I'm like, that is him.
So this is it's like a thriller detective story.
Kind of a noir in a way.
Yeah, a little bit of a noir.
The narration from Larry.
I don't want to say it's like a blaxploitation film, but I feel like it has hints of it a little bit.
I saw people comment and say that it's blaxploitation.
Okay.
Maybe just because it's taking some of the worst of some of the black community of the time and putting it forefront and not really commenting on it. Just like, here it is. Here's people getting killed in the streets over coke.
Yeah. And this is, directed by Bill Duke, who is a black man as well. So it is heavy with, I guess, those themes. I'm curious I've never seen this before.
No,
I never even heard of it.
Same here.
I guess we'll get some initial thoughts going.
Okay.
Pete.
So before I give my initial thoughts, I want to mention this is chosen from our Patreon member. He goes by Nerdrovert, like introvert and nerd introvert.
Oh.
Nerdrovert. His name is Jason, and if you want to visit his website, it's scenethatreviews.com, and scene is SCENE, like a movie scene.
Yeah.
And it's called I've Seen That. And the motto is everything deserves at least one viewing, and he does online reviews and whatnot. So I'm going to put the comment or the link tree in the show notes here. Check him out.
Mm-hmm.
If you go on his website right now, the last few reviews he's done is No Tears for the Dead from 2014, The Informer from 2019, Slow Burn from 2005 with Ray Liotta, Arctic from 2018, Cafe Express from 1980. So it literally is just like a little bit of everything. And I think that mantra of, everything it deserves at least one viewing, I dig that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. So this was Nerdrovert's Jason's pick. And I asked him, send me a couple notes about why you chose this movie. And he says, I watched it for the first time this year and I was blown away. Based on the synopsis, I was expecting an intense thriller. What I wasn't expecting was a gritty, neo-noir character study that we did get. I love the use of neon, the message that Bill Duke had to say, and it instantly became not only one of my favorite Larry Fishburne roles, but one of my favorite movies.
Mm-hmm.
And then he basically says, here's the website and this and that, and he says, I appreciate you guys and the shout out Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, belated Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Honda Days, or whatever it is that you celebrate.
Yeah.
I'm more of a Toyota-thon guy myself, but still. Thank you for that, buddy. I appreciate it. And my initial thoughts, I'm not generally a huge fan of that kind of, I don't even know what you would call it, like that like OG hip-hop sort of like, maybe like White Men Can't Jump era, early 90s.
Like the genre of hip-hop? Like classic hip-hop?
Yeah, like classic hip-hop that like boop, boop, bat,
Oh, that sounds more like 70s hip-hop.
Yeah. It's past that. It's the newer than
like
that.
Run DMC?
Yeah, Run DMC
type
would
era?
be the type.
Okay.
This entire soundtrack is made up of that. And I generally like
New York hip-hop.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of how I classify it.
Yeah, I'd say so. Like Brooklyn based or whatever.
But they're in LA in this movie. Well, I guess he's from the East Coast though.
Yeah, he's Chicago. The title track from the soundtrack was Snoop Dogg, and I think there was someone, I can't remember who else, but Snoop Dogg and someone else.
Mm.
And when the soundtrack comes in and that first opening scene of him, it's kind of a throwback to when he was a kid and watching
Dr. Dre introducing Snoop Dogg. Okay.
was like his father, I think it was the 70s flashback, but so this some of the 60s cars and it's snowy, it's Christmas, and I'm like, oh, it's a Christmas movie.
I know. I was like, perfect.
So yeah, Santa comes up to him and goes, hey, little boy, what do you want for Christmas? And then the guy, his dad gets murdered right in front of him. And I'm like, damn, even before that, just the way his father was talking to him, I'm like, this movie does not fuck around.
No.
Like right off the bat, it's like he's
Don't get into this shit.
Yeah,
You don't want none of this shit, do we?
yeah. And immediately I was invested into the character, and I'm like, this. You don't need much else to know is this innocent, bright-eyed kid who is in the car with this tweaker, junkie father.
Who's about to rob this store.
Snorting coke and asking him what he wants for Christmas. And he says, I'm going to go rob this store to get you your Christmas present. And then he's shot dead in the street. And you're like, God damn. There was a line there, and the narration from Larry Fish was like...
That was the noir part.
Yeah, right on point, because he says something like, as I watched my father find his grave in the snow, I realized I was never going to go down that road. And then it flashes forwards to in the present day, and there's this interview with these police officers, and their superior is asking them, "What's
the DEA guy?"
Yeah, it's like, what's the difference between a black man and an N-word? And it goes through 3 or 4 different police officers, and I'm like, God, jeez, I didn't
Didn't pull any punches on
No.
right in the front.
Right up front. So the very real, no holds barred sort of approach to the storytelling, and the gut punch of all these. They don't tiptoe around stuff and go, oh, let's just easy into this before we just pull the Band-Aid right off and show you the.
Nope.
You're right off the bat. So immediately I was invested into it, and I thought that Run DMC era sort of hip hop that was prevalent throughout the entire soundtrack, 100% worked. And like I said, I'm not usually like a gigantic fan of that. I think sometimes that comes off as cheesy and way over. It's like a time capsule that doesn't always work. In this, man, it really worked. When I saw that the 2 lead characters were Laurence Fishburne and Jeff Goldblum, I'm like, what could possibly those two?
What could they get up to?
Get up to together, yeah. And one of the things that I really enjoyed about this was that the cast of supporting characters were very rich. You got the tweaker girl that lives downstairs with the little boy. Her whole side plot, is going to be heartbreaking, and you're ready for it, and it is way more heartbreaking than you think. She has that moment where she offers to sell her son to him for $3,000, and then, oh no, $2,000. That's my final offer. And that's how Charles Manson. That was how Charles Manson had that same thing happen to him as a child. He was
really
his mom sold him. Actually, did sell him to. Somebody at a bar for a pitcher of beer or something like that.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And there was other abuse in his childhood as well. But, you're looking at it and you're like, this innocent child, just like Bill Duke was that innocent child, or not Bill Duke,
Laurence Fishburne?
Laurence Fishburne, as his flashback. He was an innocent child.
Russell Stevens.
Yeah. And I think he went by John, didn't he?
That was his undercover name.
Undercover name, yeah. I'm just going to call him John.
It's for the whole
most of the movie. So, that's the juxtaposition from that to this young kid who's just living with his tweaking ass hoochie mama chicken head mom in the projects in the hood, and you're just like, this is not going to end well. It's so heartbreaking. So the movie is unrelenting. It's heartbreak after heartbreak. It's the corruption of John's innocence throughout the movie. There's some very, very artistic, stylized scenes, like when he keeps going back to that art installation, like art dealer or whatever, the woman.
Yeah.
She's got some blue sign outside of the building that when they're having the conversations, it's like this back and forth cutting of like washed out blue.
Yeah.
Fucking love that. Loved it. So the whole thing was fantastic. I love the supporting characters. I love the way the story went, and this like corruption of innocence from what truly is a person who's just wants to do good in the world, and he gets talked into it from a DEA superior that says he's going to be able to do good, and it really turns into just
he was kind of manipulated a little bit.
You knew it was coming, but it didn't make it any less impactful. So yeah, really loved this movie. Big surprise. I had a fantastic time with this.
looking just at the name of the movie and caring what it's about, and then Jeff Goldblum, and then it's like, what are they gonna do?
Yeah, I also didn't have any idea that Bill Duke was an established director.
Yeah,
having only been his second feature technically, but he had a ton of directorial credits before him.
yeah,
So you're thinking something like that, somebody like that, you could take that stylized vision and overdo it very easily, or use it in a way that just seems hokey or cheesy or whatever. But Bill Duke nailed it. He really did. And the cinematographer in this was Bojan Bazelli.
Bazelli.
And I've seen his name before, and when it popped up, I'm like, why do I know this guy from? His cinematographer credits: Peter Pan and Wendy,
Okay,
the new one, Underwater.
so he's still working.
Yeah, he's still working. Six Underground. Don't see that one. David Lowery's Pete's Dragon, The Lone Ranger, Rock of Ages, Burlesque, The Sorcerer's Apprentice, G-Force, that hamster movie.
Oh wait, guinea pig movie.
Yeah, it's guinea pig. You're right. The G, guinea pig. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, The Ring, Dangerous Beauty, and then he started out his career with a lot of music videos. He also did that weird ass movie Boxing Helena, which I think we need to cover on the show one day.
Oh, so he's got quite a array of different work.
Yeah, he did The Ring and some new stuff, and Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I'm like, the guy's been around for a while. So that mixed with this kind of new coming Bill Duke, it was a winning combination in my opinion.
Tyler submitted his thoughts. We can read.
Oh, yeah, I can play that real quick.
Oh, is it an audio?
Yeah, I got audio, and
Oh,
it's pretty quick.
Perfect.
So let's see here. This is what Tyler has to say.
Hi and hello, classmates, and Peter and Joseph. I apologize that I cannot be there in person today as I am toiling delivering packages for the Christmas holiday.
Tyler sounds like he's reading this at gunpoint. This is his ransom note. Okay, here we go.
However, I wanted to give a quick review of Deep Cover. And this was a surprising movie for myself because I went into this movie thinking it was going to be, I don't know, a just like cheesy 90s action movie. And it was everything but that. Of course, there's some things that in the film don't really make any sense as far as our legal system goes. But Laurence Fishburne is a complete badass. And also Jeff Goldblum, he plays the best coke dealer ever. And everyone else does really great in the cast. And I was surprised of the twists and turns, and the performance of all of the actors just was masterclass. And especially Laurence Fishburne, he seduced me. I was thinking to myself, wow, if this guy looked at me in the eyes, I would melt. I would melt in my chair. I think the way that the story progresses is what makes this movie special. I need to talk to older people who are in their 50s and 60s and like wonder, was Deep Cover a huge movie? It has a rating of 7.0. So like it has to be beloved. But like I've never heard of this movie before. When you're catching up on a movie like on cable TV, I know cable TV isn't a thing anymore, but if Deep Cover was on cable TV as I was watching, I would sit on this movie. I would be like, "Oh, wow, this is actually really interesting." Laurence Fishburne, he's just an incredible actor, and he's very convincing, very charismatic, and between him and Jeff Goldblum, it's hard to say who is the better actor. Jeff Goldblum plays like an incredible creep. Laurence Fishburne plays the complete badass. And
do you think you like Laurence Fishburne?
I don't know. I can't tell.
Okay. I think it's like the fifth time he's called him a badass.
Lawrence Fishburne's boss, he played also an incredible creep as well. It's a fun action, suspenseful movie. You don't know where it's going. At least I didn't know where it was going at times. I kind of did like in some sequences, but not like towards the end, I was definitely satisfied. And yeah. So definitely check out Deep Cover. Unfortunately, I can't remember who put this as the pick.
Come on, Tyler.
I think it was no, it wasn't Mitch. It was
Don't try
someone.
to guess.
It was someone, and I so much
This is great.
apologize for
Great
for
pod
getting
right
your
here.
name.
Great pod.
Because I have to leave for work really soon right now, and so thank you so much. Deep Cover, definitely check it out. I rented it for about $3. It's definitely worth the rent, and you can also stream it on Tubi, I believe, as well. So have a good rest of your days, and happy holidays.
Oh my god! It's just when it's just an audio. I mean, you just have to listen. We can't interject because it's already predetermined.
Yeah.
So we just have to let him finish the thoughts and not be like, "Come on, you can do it."
Yeah, come on, buddy, you got this. I always like when the reviews devolve into, yeah. so there's that.
Yep.
So Deep Murder, huh?
Cover.
Yes. Oh, God damn it, I keep doing that.
Deep Murder's the other movie that's on the wheel.
Yeah, that's true. From Stew.
Thank you, Tyler, for submitting that. You sound very
tired,
very well rested and ready for the day.
Oh God, I feel so bad. Fucking guy.
He managed to do it though. He managed to watch the movie and still submit his thoughts. So
yeah, props to Tyler. Listening to this right now, you're probably shaking your head like, how dare they talk to me about me on the show, and I'm not even there to defend myself. But you did it because normally Tyler watches the movie of the week the morning of the show. Mm-hmm. And I guarantee he did that today. I guarantee. And he submitted this to me at 8:00 or something like that.
Yeah.
Which means he was up at 6 or 5:30 to watch this and then send his messages. And that was based off of the name of the file, new recording 4.m4a. That was the fourth take of this. So.
And it was like this. He recorded on his phone.
So there was I'm going to say Tyler's probably up at 5:00, if not earlier, after getting home from work at 11:30 after a 12-hour shift. So, props to that. Good job, buddy.
Okay, so my initial thoughts on this movie is I also enjoyed it quite a bit, surprisingly.
Oh, good.
Like going into it, kind of like Tyler, is this going to be a campy 90s cop movie? But I did not get that. I got a pretty compelling story. With unexpected twists and turns that were very, it amped it up, or ramped up the tension, the thrill, like a reveal that happens in the last, maybe like the beginning of the third act of the story, where I was like, oh, okay, this is taking a wild turn right now. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed pretty much like 90% of the movie. I think there were some moments where I could have done without the sort of romance story that was kind of in there. I didn't really feel like that did much to the story. I was really impressed with Jeff Goldblum's insanity in this movie. Like he was pretty
he was losing it near the end.
Pretty unpredictable, and his character was written in a way where he's just kind of like a despicable person. He has certain views of things that I was like, I didn't think Jeff Goldblum could play a person like this.
Yeah, exactly.
But he did it. He did it well. He was a coke dealer, but he definitely did coke. So
yeah, for sure.
He played that role, I think, well. The sort of cokehead coke dealer. I enjoyed their dynamic. They're they're not friends, but they're just partners in this drug empire that they're trying to form. Mm-hmm. And the whole time, Laurence Fishburne is undercover. And I never, like, as I was watching it, I was like, I wonder, like, the actual true stories of undercover cops and how long these cops go undercover for, you know?
There's got to be some absolutely insane stories from actual undercover cops.
Because I know we did that Nicole Kidman movie.
Nicole Kidman?
When she had the wig.
Oh, Destroyer.
Destroyer, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
that was one of your picks.
Yeah, and was she undercover? I think she was undercover.
I think so. Yeah.
She was she had infiltrated Or it was like playing like flashbacks, I think, or something like that.
Something like that.
And that was another undercover type story where there's uncovering these drug dealers or drug kings.
Once he was getting set up into the actual, are you done with your initial thoughts? I don't want to derail you.
I mean, yeah, Laurence Fishburne. I didn't think that other than Morpheus, who's like a cool character.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily call him a badass in the Matrix movies, but I feel like
he's a stoic badass.
Yeah, in this he's definitely the cop badass. I think he is. He played that role well, and it reminded me of like when he started getting like really successful and the whole I'm actually good at drug dealing.
Yeah,
that when it went down that route and he felt shitty about what he was doing, and it had that sort of dichotomy or that duality of I want to be a cop and I want to do good things, but here I am selling drugs to children.
Yeah,
and
pregnant women.
Also, at the same time, what kind of fucking shitty ass government organization is like, well, we can't buy all this drugs from you. That's not in the budget.
Yeah,
you're a drug dealer. Sell drugs.
He did tell him when the job. He was like, I want you to sell drugs. I want you to buy drugs.
Yeah, that's such a terrible position to be put in for someone like his character, who like he's straight edge.
Yeah, he did it
ever since he was a kid.
Never even had a drink.
Yeah, he never did drugs, never had a drink, and here he is dealing it to the community. But Black Dynamite, I sell drugs to the community. Yeah, I really like introducing that element to this kind of character and making him do things that goes against his own moral code, and him thinking to himself like, I thought I was going to be doing good to the community, and here I am selling drugs to kids, and I'm also really good at it. So I really like that.
Yeah, his boss specifically tells him, all those weaknesses are going to be attributes when you go into this. Yeah, because from his like mental portfolio or whatever it was.
I really enjoyed it.
Nice. Well, I think that one of the most shocking broad view of this whole thing is just that this government agency is flooding the streets with cocaine.
Yes.
And I know that that's kind of, I don't know much about that. You hear stories about how the DEA and the government had basically provided drugs into the community, which started this
whole
war on drugs.
Yeah.
It's like the government started it, and now they're trying to, they're committed, they're waging a war on it.
Yeah, because they're racist.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, some of that is true. It's hard to, and this is just the movie that's about that, and it's even more solidified with the whole end of the movie, him taking down the.
Oh, that's the other thing too. Is they not only are they doing that, the head honcho, the head honcho, 3 layers up of this drug enterprise, is a government informant.
Yes, which is the twist.
Yeah,
and that caught me off guard because it's like now it's like cops against cops. It's like FBI versus local police. It was very interesting.
Well, it had a lot of the same beats of The Departed, which is based off of Infernal Affairs. When he's doing this setup and the DEA, the short guy, I didn't realize how short he was until the trial.
Yeah.
And he punches him. But when he's setting the whole thing up, he's telling him, you're going to go deep undercover. No one's going to know who you are. You're going to be in there for years. You're going to forget your own name. And I was like, this is literally how Leonardo DiCaprio is set up at the beginning of The Departed, turning into the rat. And then at the end of that one, Jack Nicholson, turns out he's been an informant the whole time. A lot of crossover here.
Yeah, it is interesting. I have to watch The Departed.
Oh, I'm looking at the trivia right now, and I'm just scrolling down the screen, and it says the script started as a sequel to Infernal Affairs.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Is it Internal Affairs or Infernal Affairs? I thought it was Infernal.
Infernal Affairs is the Cinemax version.
Oh.
I really don't know.
That's so funny.
Is Internal Affairs a movie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I could have sworn that it was, either way, it's, maybe they're all bastardizations of each other.
Yeah. It's cops against cops, and then there's people who are informants, and I didn't really understand the Reverend character. Like, was he a cop?
Yes. Yeah.
He was also a Reverend?
That was the guy that played Samson in Half Baked. He was the drug dealer in Half Baked, and he was a righteous man who was on the police force.
Is it? No, it's not Ed Bridge.
No, I can't. And he's really low on the cast considering how many lines he had. I think he had to go into the actual main cast list.
Yeah.
And he's almost at the very bottom.
Really?
I think he was a pastor before or was a reverend before, but now he's a police officer. Mm-hmm. Or maybe he's both. Or maybe he just calls him that because the first time that John met the reverend, he was getting busted. He punched him in the stomach on the scene, and then he apologized. He said, the Lord implores a man when he's wronged to apologize to the person he's wronged, and I apologize. I shouldn't have done that to you.
I shouldn't have punched you.
Shouldn't have punched you. I lost my cool, and I'm sorry.
File a complaint.
Yeah, please. I encourage you to file a complaint. But I think maybe that's where it started out, and he's just calling him Reverend because
Just as like a nickname.
yeah, because he's a man of God. He's a self-proclaimed man of God.
He just seemed like a guy, like a do-good citizen.
Kind of,
Because he was never dressed like a cop or anything like that.
He's a vice cop, so he's like out on the street doing busts and whatnot. And not always going to be looking like a blue uniform police
He
officer.
kind of seemed like a schmuck though, like especially at the end, because he just reveals himself and gets himself caught.
That it was. I mean, I understand he has a moral code of ethics, and he's like, that drug money ain't leaving right here. But he just walks out with 9 bad guys there, and he's like, "You're under arrest. I'm a police officer, bro. Wait for backup.
I know. Everybody, put your guns down.
Follow the car or something. There's a million ways you. Yeah, everybody here's under arrest. I know it's 1 gun against 12, but
I am a police officer. The head, I think, at first, what kind of got me interested in really seeing where this movie was going to go was the lackey or whatever, the drug dealer
the guy who was dressed nice,
who gets killed by the head
he beats him.
Yeah, he beats him with his stick.
Yeah.
Or the
much like in Rebel Moon.
Yeah. Because that actor was also insane.
He was on one the whole movie.
Yeah, and but he did a really good job because he was just all over the place.
Yeah.
He was very much unpredictable. But then when he is confronted with the whole, you gave this guy up. Like, what's stopping you from giving the rest of us up? That character who ends up beating that guy to death on the pool table, he was also kind of unpredictable because in that whole interaction before he beats him up, he's like, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
It's a joke. But then he proceeds
after he got stabbed in the shoulder with the fork.
I know. And that's that.
He's not going to let him go at this point.
I know. He in like a very sad attempt to, I don't know, stop himself from getting killed. In his head, he's like, I'm going to stab you. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to stab you.
Why did I do that? What the fuck did I do that for?
So it's like
That was Barbosa was his character.
Barbosa. That whole scene was kind of tense, I think, because it's like, it was like a Goodfellas scene almost.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you can't trust anybody. And I enjoyed that. And then after that, that's when Russell Stevens / John takes over his position.
Yeah, he slides in and essentially says, so there's two plots. There's the main one, which is just him turning into this drug pusher so he can inform his boss of who the head honchos are, which seems like they already know, so I don't know what the point even was, right? Mm-hmm. And then he was almost like, I wasn't sure where his job ended and his personal development of wanting, like, desire to become a drug lord started, because he had... They started finding this guy to make the synthetic drugs. Yeah. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to push all these other drug lords out, and we're going to have our own synthetic drugs, and we're going to, cut them in at a percentage or some shit like that. And it got it a little convoluted. And ultimately, I think the whole point was they just wanted to get to the point where he had a reason to need $5 million.
Yeah.
In the story. Once he got that reason, now he has a motivation to be like, well, if I just get $5 million, I can literally turn that into 500 million, and I'll be richer than I could ever could have imagined.
Yeah.
And the desire and the tantalizing drug life and villain origin story is really started at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, it did. I could have done without this sort of, it was like not really a romantic plot, but they kind of got romantic. I mean, they got in bed together.
Yeah.
But I feel like it didn't really do anything for the rest of the story. It didn't really raise the stakes, I don't think.
I think it was almost just like, that's just another facet of John's character that the audience wants to see, is just him spitting game at this girl.
Yeah.
That was cool. I liked it, where she's like, you think you're better than me? No, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm better than anybody.
I like their interactions.
Yeah, that was really cool.
There were some moments when he comes by late at night in the suit
Yeah.
and she's also dressed up for some reason.
Like they're going to go out to a ball or something.
I think the dialogue was a little strange in that scene. Because she was like, you always do your shopping at night? I'm nocturnal. I do a lot of things at night.
Yeah, they're trying to outcool each other.
Yeah.
That's how they flirt.
Yeah, that's their love language.
The cheesiest scene, I think, was the hand slap game that Barbosa was playing with David Jason. And they make it seem, the way they edit it, that when Barbosa slaps his hands like that it's seething in pain on his hands.
Oh, yeah, and then he has the red knuckles.
Yeah, which is like, you ever played that before?
Yeah.
You can only...
I know.
You can only go so hard.
He's got that Kill Bill, the 1-inch punch.
Oh, yeah.
He's got that strength.
1-inch punch, 1-inch slap.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I thought too.
And then it escalates, and then it really does get, he's punching in his hand, and then I
Who
think,
punches a hand?
Yeah, that scene gets intense, and then immediately they both go, right then I knew that Barbosa was going to kill David if we didn't kill him first.
Yeah, that whole sequence, that dinner sequence, I think, yeah.
Yeah, it was like dinner and a show.
Yeah, and there's this burlesque dancer in the back.
Yeah.
Who's just, no one's paying attention. I'm just kind of doing my thing.
Yeah.
It's so uncomfortable because Barbosa's being so passive aggressive. And David's like, don't talk to me like that. Well, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to him.
Yeah.
And he's talking shit about him. Why do you got to be with David? Did he give you that pitch about the synthetic cocaine or whatever?
Yeah.
He did that to me. It's bullshit.
That's funny.
And then David Jason is like, don't make fun,
Yeah.
It was pretty tense, and like the hand slap game.
That seemed kind of goofy to me, but then where it went into some places.
Yeah, it escalated.
It just seemed a little bit goofy in the editing at first.
That was the weird vehicle to increase the tension, was that game.
Yeah. One for flinching, David, and he punches him in the face. You're like, God damn.
You see what you did? You flinched, so now I get to hit you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found one of the monologues from
The narrations.
Yeah, the narrations. This gives the audience, our listeners, an idea. Yeah.
If you haven't seen it.
Hell yeah. After that fateful night, I saw my dad laying dead in the gutter, finding his snowy grave. I promised myself I'd never touch that shit. Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's like an East Coast early 90s hip-hop noir. Hip-hop noir. That's the genre of the movie.
Hey, we found it. We found it.
Hip-hop noir. Yeah. Thinking back to it, it is very much fits in that noir genre. You got neo-noir, you got hip-hop noir, and then you have the classic noir.
That's funny.
Yeah. When they go meet him in the parking lot, and it's revealed that he's the informant.
Yeah.
And then you see the guy who was like the boxing manager, or that boxing gym manager, and and then you see the Reverend also staking out. He's got the wire on.
Yeah.
And then David is just so uninformed that he's just caught in the middle.
Yeah.
But he's unknowing of he was an informant, and also Larry Fishburne is undercover this whole time.
What I really liked is that the second that David met John, he's like, fuck it, man, that's a cop. And the tweaker ass dude with the well-dressed man who gets killed by Barbosa, he's like, no, man, I know him. He's like, I met him like 2 weeks ago. But he just, that whole interaction with him where that dude, the well-dressed man, and John meet at the bar too is so funny. Because he's like trying so hard to be like cool about him.
Yeah.
And he's like, what's up, man? Hey, stay up, stay black. The bartender's like, the fuck does that mean? What am I supposed to do?
Yeah, he's trying really hard. But he's also coked out of his mind.
Yeah, I think that's it, is that he's really coked out.
The chase sequence, oh my gosh, what happens to Barbosa? That was another thing. That came out of nowhere.
I know, we're like, shit.
I know.
Wow.
They're in like a limo, right? And they're in the back of the car, and they're driving. Larry Fishburne is driving after this whole bust went down, and Barbosa's been revealed that he's an informant, and David has him at gunpoint in the back of the limo and is telling him to get out of the car as they're driving, and he shoots him twice in the hands or something. Like, like in both of his hands, right?
Yeah, he's like, that's one for flinching.
Yeah. And so he shoots him in his hands, and they go down the LA tunnel, that iconic LA tunnel, and they
shoots him in the ass.
Yeah, they shoot him. He's like, they flip a Yui, and then they're about to go the other way. The cops are chasing them, and flips a Yui, and then he could have got out right there, and the car's not moving, but he
decides to wait. He's like, I'm not getting out.
He opens the door, and then he gets shot in the ass by David, and then he falls out, and then the cop just
literally smashes the hell out of him,
runs him over, and instantly kills him.
Yeah,
and that's probably the worst outcome you could have had out of that bust that he was advised not to go to. But that was kind of an insane scene. And when he got hit by that car, I was like, I exclaimed.
I know.
I was like, holy shit!
I was like, whoa!
Yeah, that was nuts.
So this is the vibe of the music, and it's funny. This came off of the album. It's called "This Is East Coast Hip Hop." So good call, Joseph. Earlier.
Yeah,
I'm gonna read one of the soliloquies. His little poem that Laurence Fishburne's character says. The jungle creed says that the strong must feed on any prey at hand. I guess that's only part of it. Damn, they didn't give you the whole thing. Damn it. But those are lyrics that are taken from Reflections, a best-selling black author, Iceberg Slim.
Yeah.
Bill Duke, who's a great fan of Iceberg Slim's work, wrote the screenplay of his autobiography, Pimp, which never made it into production. Other interesting things about the trivia on here. This is the final movie that Laurence goes by Larry.
Oh, okay.
After this, it's Larry all the way.
Laurence all the way.
Yeah, Laurence all the way. Sorry. There is this movie did make it into the Criterion collection, so that gives you an idea.
Yeah. Criterion quality.
Of the quality, yeah, exactly. And then the guy who plays the beefcake dude in the drop top Mercedes that keeps driving by.
Gets killed in the bathroom.
Yeah. That dude, this was his acting debut. This was an introduction.
Oh, and then what did he do?
James T. Morris is his name. He's been in only 4 things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. An Innocent Man, which actually released before this, Deep Cover, Street Crimes, and Human Target. And it's funny because I swear I know that guy. Like I feel like I've seen him before, but he's only been in those 4 things and I haven't seen him.
Yeah. This movie kind of felt like Coming to America was also being filmed, like is in the same universe. Mm-hmm. It just had that vibe to it, even though it's like totally different states.
Yeah.
One's in New York, one's in LA. I think that whole drug bust scene was probably the craziest one. Mm-hmm. I think when they start ramping up their business as partners, Jeff Goldblum takes a route in his wardrobe. He slicks back his hair even more. He's got like this black leather coat, and he just becomes like he looks less like a lawyer and more like a drug dealer.
I really liked, I forgot the whole lawyer component to it, but I really liked that he showed up as his lawyer.
Yeah.
He hung him out to dry.
Yeah.
They gave him the coke, but it was actually just baby laxative.
Oh.
So he didn't actually go to jail, and he goes, "Hey, I saved your life." He goes, "Yeah, but you set me up. You didn't even sell me the coke." He's like, "If I did, you would be in jail right now."
Okay, I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
But I wouldn't be here if you didn't give me anything.
You asshole. So I like that aspect of it. And then you're like, this is the beginning of a glorious friendship.
Yeah. And he has the glow up because he gets told by the DEA agent, like, start spending that money. Mm-hmm. You know, and he buys a house,
nicer apartment.
Buys a house in the hills and gets his wardrobe and furniture. Yeah. It reminded me of playing GTA.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you get all your money from doing crime, basically.
Yeah.
And then you are a successful businessman. Mm-hmm. And then he goes and reveal that it's like a political thing now. It's like, well, we thought we were against him, but it turns out my boss, we're actually friends with him now.
Yeah.
So now we don't want to take him down. And he becomes Barbosa's a funder to like the political, a friend of like a political campaigner to become president or something. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's like president of the United States. Like
Yeah,
it's not like he's a senator.
Yeah, it's wild. It gets wild.
And then that's after that moment in the top of the parking garage when he's about to get arrested, and then Laurence Fishburne turns the tables and is like interrogating the DEA agent. After that, I think is when he goes on his own bender.
Yeah.
And he's like, I never had a drink before. It's not too bad. And he takes his flask, and then
He goes down. Yeah, he spirals. He spirals hard, and I feel bad for him. And then the ultimate, like the finale, is that he can't stand the fact that the Reverend is dying, and he calls for backup. He reveals himself as the cop.
Yeah.
And David Jason.
a real Point Break moment.
Yeah, really. And he goes, yeah, that's just one thing about you. That's fine. We're still partners, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, I didn't expect that.
He's like, I don't care that you're a cop.
Yeah, I knew he was going to shoot the Reverend, though, because he's like, if he doesn't have to stay here waiting for the ambulance to come, then he can come with him.
He makes a decision for him.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So
yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, actually, I mean, I didn't think about it at the time, but like, yeah, it is kind of like a Point Break moment where Keanu Reeves reveals that he's undercover to Patrick Swayze. And,
you're my brother. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
but it wasn't like a dire situation where
Yeah.
it's like he had to.
Yeah. So
But yeah,
do you
deep
wanna,
cover.
You want to do some grades?
Let's throw some grades on this movie, Pete.
Oh, yeah, me.
Yeah, you.
Okay.
Tyler didn't give his grade. He didn't say what.
Nah,
He said he
didn't.
liked it. So.
Yeah. I'm gonna say that. I'm trying to think of what Tyler's grade would be. I think Tyler's grade would be a D. I'm gonna say that. Tyler, you since you didn't give a grade, we're just gonna say you hated this movie.
Yeah.
No, I don't know what his would be, but I'm gonna say probably an A minus. I think so. There was a couple moments that I was like, this is like a flawless movie. I absolutely love this, every bit about this. And there were a couple scenes that kind of lulled a little bit and went in some weird directions, and then the hand slap scene took me out of it a little bit. And again, nitpicking, but
Yeah.
what a fantastic surprise of a movie. So, Nerdrovert, Jason, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. It was a really fun time, and that's one of the reasons why I really love doing this show and having the patrons, submit movies, is because I never would have seen this.
No, yeah, I would never have seen this.
And black cinema is a big blind spot for me. I've noticed that. I've been shown, the mirror has been shown to me, because I do Framed every day.
Oh, yeah,
I do the Framed game. And every time it's like a black-centric movie from the 90s or something, I'm like 4, 5, 6 frames or don't even get it. And I'm like, I really need to fix some of this shit.
Am I racist?
Yeah, am I? I just was not exposed to it in that era. So
Yeah.
most of that stuff, it wasn't in my purview then. Now I'm going back and revisiting a lot of stuff, and I'm finding some really, really fantastic gems. So the Devil in a Blue Dress was one that was recommended. If you like this movie, you like that. I think that might be one that I watched pretty soon.
Yeah, it's on here. If you
Yeah, there it is.
Devil in a Blue Dress, yeah.
And the DP also did Kingdom of New York, which I did like quite a bit.
Yeah.
That was a Abel Ferrara movie. So yeah, A minus for me. Really, really enjoyed myself.
Okay, D for Tyler. Did not like, I guess.
Come on, Tyler.
the-
A D? Really?
What the hell?
Come on.
Boo.
Dickhead. D for dickhead.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I think like A minus. I enjoyed it probably around the same amount. I think
Nice.
the lull for me was the kind of
The romance.
romance thing that didn't really do much for me. It doesn't take away a whole much.
Took a whole butt away.
But yeah, it was thrilling. It was suspenseful, and I think the story of this cop who just wants to do good for his community, but is forced to do bad for his community for his job, is a very interesting dynamic to have in this movie, especially for a character who has like the history that he has, and they show his backstory right up front. So it's not like something you learn later.
Yeah.
It's not like something he tells somebody. It's like, well, my dad, he was a drug dealer and he got killed right in front of me.
I really liked that he kept that bloody money, and you don't even see it till the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah. So
Cool. Awesome.
A minus And a D from Tyler.
Two A minuses and a D. All right. Awesome. So what's next?
Let's move on to the wheel.
1 wheel, 8 slots, 3 hosts.
This is the Wheel of Destiny.
All right, deep cover off the wheel. And we kind of talked about this beforehand. We've had deep murder on the wheel for quite some time. And that is the end of our Patreon list. And then when starting with the next one, it will be recycling to the very top. So back to Javier, and I can't remember who the second person is to join the Patreon. So we're just going to delete deep cover, and we're not going to replace it because, for one, I don't have a replacement by Javier yet.
Oh, okay.
So we don't have that. And for 2, let's just clear out the Patreon wheel. So, hey, look at that. It's deep murder.
Yeah. Deep murder.
Yeah, we're forcing the hand. This is from Stu of Stu World Order and SWO Productions. So let's see what Deep Murder is about.
Deep Moida.
Deep Murder.
The sequel, the Deep Cover.
2018. That's weird. It says 2018 on certain things and 2019 on others. This is a not rated movie. A raunchy horror comedy delves deep into the story of a deranged killer as he slashes his way across a softcore porno.
Great.
Who will last the longest as the stiffs pile up and the killer plows through his victims? Wow.
Oh, I kind of remember this movie coming out.
I did not at
I remember
all.
because of Chris Redd, because he was on Saturday Night Live, and I think that's how I heard about it. But this has, Chris Redd from SNL fame, Jerry O'Connell, child actor fame.
Oh, yeah.
Mickey Gooch.
What?
Mickey Gooch Jr. Hot
Plays
cop.
hot cop. Oh, cool.
And no one really that I know. It's a sexy pizza man.
Oh, Christopher McDonald. That's a Shooter McGavin.
Oh, yeah, Shooter McGavin.
Sweet.
Richard Dangler. That's
All
his
right.
name.
Cool. Awesome.
Dr. Bunny Van Clit. Okay.
All right. So next week, as you can probably surmise, this will be a very dirty episode. And the trailer is definitely a softcore porn playing right now. So
Is this like going to be like Zach and Marie?
Zach and Mary make a porno?
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out, but it's a horror comedy.
Oh, God.
Oh, this looks rough.
Oh, boy.
Stu, what have you done? What have you done, buddy?
Why have you done this to us?
I can't believe you've done this.
All right. Stu, are you going to, maybe you'll send something?
Yeah, I think I'll see if I can get Stu on the show. He does a video component for some of his stuff as well. So
I feel like that should have been Tim Robinson, that guy.
Yeah, for real.
The driving crooner.
Yeah. I feel like you're just in it for the zip line.
Yeah.
in this porno house. All right, cool. So we'll cover that next week. You got anything else, Joseph?
No, just I hope you had a wonderful holiday. It's Wednesday now. So,
Yeah.
And Happy New Year. We'll see you in the next year.
Happy upcoming New Year. Absolutely. All right. So thank you to our cool ass yard duties over on Patreon. That is Javier, listener Steven, Heather Sachs, Ryan Corbin, and Chris. And starting in the new year, we are going to have one of our spots open up in the cool ass yard duties pantheon. We had 5. We will have 4 starting in the new year. So will be a spot open. There is a number of things that are beneficial, but I will talk about that next year, I guess next episode.
Yeah.
And kind of give the rundown of what kind of perks you get with that and what that means for us. So until next time. Thank you for following us as we review Deep Cover, directed by Bill Duke, submitted by Jason of I've Seen That. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/MCFC podcast, and send us an email, mcfcpodcast@gmail.com.
And follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Middle Class Film Class, and follow us on Twitter at PodcastMCFC.
Yes, and subscribe to us on YouTube if you have no preference, podcast or YouTube. Otherwise, please listen to this show on the YouTubes if it's possible. But we're doing all kinds of fun stuff over there, so go subscribe. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Class dismissed.
I gotta get out of here. The bell doesn't dismiss you. I dismiss you.
You're free to go.
See you next week. See you later. See you later. That's a wrap. Great show.